everybody. Welcome once again to Boss Moves with Business Acumen, aka BMBA, aka Boss Moves. I'm Charles, one of your business-minded hosts. You can call me Charles for short. I've also got our co-host Mo.
Right here.
What's up, Mo? And our other co-host Trey. What's happening?
What's going on, man? What's good, you guys?
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? So let's get into it. Mo, I believe you got an article for us today.
We had a little powwow, and the guys we were kind of figuring out some ideas to talk about. We found an article, "Goodbye to Open Office Spaces: How Experts Are Rethinking the Workplace." So with this article, they went back to the origin of what open office spaces were. 20th century architect Franklin Lloyd Wright designed what he thought was a democratic workplace by tearing down walls, literally and physically, to make it accessible to everybody, just allowing employees to collaborate a little easier. It became a design trend and is also cost saving. Since then, post-Rona, we could say, there have been case studies done. A case study was done on a call center with about 216 people in a workplace. 94 people ended up testing positive for the virus, and investigators believe it happened over a course of 16 days in the month of February. They attributed mostly to people catching it by touching coffee pots, door handles,
of course,
which helped spread the disease. So I guess now, since the Rona has started, the idea is to kind of either get rid of open office spaces altogether, or just kind of create even more distance. I guess we call it social distancing now, where the workspace is now more spaced out, creating more ventilation, more sanitation, and making the workspace a little bit more reasonably safe. Now, we're going to talk about this article, and we're going to bring it into today's time and what businesses we think will survive, thrive, and what businesses we think will probably end up dying out. So, fellas, we've all looked at this article. What are y'all thinking?
But as far as that goes, I mean, it makes sense because you got these big office spaces, and the picture in the article shows all these messy cubicles. I remember my first job working in cubicles like that at a place called Cardinal Health, and it was like cubicle 4. So you was around 3 other people, and then in those offices, I don't care how much distancing you try to do in the office. If they're still coming to a central place, you still gonna worry about germs and doorknobs and door handles, and I guess hygiene can get better, and you can hire people to just wipe down everything every 5 minutes or whatever. But as long as you still come into a central workplace, there's going to be some risk. Most definitely.
Definitely going to be some risk.
You know.
And kind of what you mentioned, the how easy it is for diseases to spread in close proximity when people are in close proximity to each other. I mean, I heard on the news today that even in just a conversation, the coronavirus can jump 4 feet from person to person communication.
I don't know about some
I'm just saying, that's what I heard on the news today. This isn't from my mouth. This is from what I heard. I'm not gonna say.
I know. I've been hearing. I've heard that too. But they're getting wild with it.
Feet. You think about 6 feet.
Yeah.
That's just an arbitrary number. How can you say 6 feet is enough? If somebody sneezes hard enough,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It could be 6 feet.
Yeah,
if somebody coughs hard enough, it could be 6 feet.
Say it, don't spray it, bro. Say it.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Don't spray
it. Rule of thumb.
You know.
But let me
as far
a question though. I didn't mean to cut you.
Yeah. No, go. Say that again.
No, I was just saying. I just wanted to ask y'all a question. How long do you all think that the social distancing? How long do you really think it will last? I mean, I still see us coming back. We're social people by nature. So I still see us coming back in terms of having offices. It may be 1 year, it may be 5 years, but I still see that offices are going to be still a central part of business in some aspect. Of course, we got a lot of remote workers, people working from home, but I still see us going back to a collaborative effort because that's really what gets the juices going. Is being in a collaborative space with, around your coworkers, bouncing ideas off one another. Now, of course, they have things like, your Zoom meetings and all your technology, but still, again, we're still social people. I mean, people can have happy hour, on a Zoom call, but once the shelter in place is over, people are still right back out in bars. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I really want to know, like, how long. I mean, I don't really see office buildings necessarily going anywhere in the entire future, personally.
So that's a very, very interesting point, and we touched on that a little bit before. I do think, like, when people say, they keep saying to me, "Oh, this is the new normal, the new normal, the new normal." I really don't think so, because think about the Spanish flu and all the other issues we've had that were huge. Spanish flu. If you think about it, we should have never got back to normal with the millions of people that died during that. Like, if that was the case, that would have been, centuries long that we were going to do that. Things will go back to normal. We'll get back to co-working spaces and being around people, because you gotta have people's presence. You gotta be in the company of people. Zoom is not really gonna cut it all the time. Like, the thing about it is this, though, and I'll let somebody else talk. The thing about it is this. There are companies right now that are better suited and are learning that they're saving a lot of money on their bottom line by keeping people at home.
Yeah,
I agree.
So there are companies that are doing better,
right,
because they've eliminated so much overhead of having people in the office.
And I think that all this is going to be determined on how quickly the government can come up with a vaccine,
Right.
But right now, there are already universities that are likely to close in the fall already. So far, I guess this remote from home schooling is working out. Like you said, Charles, overhead's being cut. Now, it's a little different for brick and mortar universities, where they already have the structure. They were dying.
They were dying anyway, though,
They
Mo.
already have
Mo, they were dying anyway.
What are they going to do with that structure now? They have it there for the students. There's no other reason to have it if it isn't for the students. That's just my take on it. So I think that as soon as a vaccine is found, we're able to, hopefully everybody gets a chance at getting it. Right now, all the tests are not available for everybody at this time, but hopefully vaccines will be available for people who want to get it, who need it, however. But it's going to be a toss-up. It's going to be interesting to see how this kind of pans out.
I want to know the companies that can even survive this pandemic period, and really kind of what's the business landscape going to look like, in 6 months, in 12 months. Really just from businesses being able to survive. Let's say they get vaccines and everybody feels comfortable being around each other. Shelter at home is lifted, and no more social distancing. But still, what businesses can really survive? Because it's a lot of business. Because it's going to take years before we get things like concerts, even movie theaters. I think sports arenas where it's just a packed house of 20,000 people sitting there in one area. I think we're still 50,000, right? 50,000 some arena. I wonder how that's going to affect really sports, any kind of businesses that are linked to sports or any kind of entertainment, especially even like we were talking about, like the rappers, even like Boosie. Speaking of Boosie, talking about how rappers, they're really making no money right now. I mean, unless you got some that have a huge YouTube presence and they put out a video, they might be able to bring millions of views to their video because they can get those videos are monetized, so they still might bring in a little bit of money, but I mean nothing compared to what they were. I mean, they might make $10,000 a month or something like that, which is good money just for your average person. But when you're used to making $50,000 for a concert, $10,000 a month ain't gonna really cut it. So, man, dropping the bucket.
Yeah, or you got a 20,000. Like Boosie said, he said you a lot of these rappers got a $20,000 mortgage, with $10,000 utility. You know what I'm saying? So somebody's going back to the trap. Like, you know what I mean?
The ones that, just like with any real business, the real rappers are the ones who have different streams of income. Because that's the only way, realistically, right. Mm-hmm. That's the only way you can really survive these days. You don't want to just depend on one stream of income and risk that income flow stopping and you assed out, for lack of a better word. So, I mean, that's with even us everyday people. We want to have more, with the job. We want to have more than one stream
with
of
a job, exactly.
Because we don't want to be controlled by just that one source. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to say, hey, I don't need this job. I have these other two streams that'll carry me on, for the rest of 2 or 3 more years before I find another one if y'all going to treat me like this, per se.
Right.
7 streams. But to bring it back to the company, you asked a question very specifically, Trey. You said, what company? 2 examples. One, Twitter. Twitter CEO just said, F it, we're making this work from home permanent. He just jumped out the window with that. So, and I get it. The other company is Nationwide Insurance. Now, a company like Twitter and an insurance company are the perfect model to not really need to have offices per se, and not really need to have people in offices and micromanaging folks. They can be at home doing the exact same things that they were doing in an office. So Nationwide, they were honest about, because in the Fortune magazine article that I read, the interviewer had asked, so why is this okay for you guys? And I was wondering if they were going to be honest. They were like, okay, well, honestly, it's helping our bottom line. It's saving us a lot of money, and it must be saving them a lot, because they wanted to get into numbers. They were like, oh, we're a private company, so I'm not going to release that information. I was like, they must be making a killing by not having these people.
Absolutely,
in the office.
Yeah. I've actually heard of these same companies giving it another shot. They're not just throwing it to the wolves and saying, hey, we're going to do everything remotely. I know, like you mentioned, there are some that are and who will benefit from those, but there are plenty who need that brick and mortar. And in order for them to get back, they're going to try things like staggering arrival times, so not much traffic's coming in at once. I know right now at the White House, they're doing temperature checks. Right. For whoever's coming through the door, they're checking temperatures. So I know they're going to do that at businesses. Probably, doing the spacing in conference rooms, reduce the seatings and lounges. I think Uber even plans on only 20% of the staff in the building at any given day. So a lot of these brick and mortar places are going to just have to increase the cleaning rotation. Having I think we might have mentioned this on a podcast or so before, having the cleaning rotation a little bit more frequently than they used to have. I know there's also UV virus killing light that a lot of cleaning places do have. So that's going to be a big thing in the coming years. Cleaning places, cleaning businesses. Also with changing air filters, that'll help. Changing air filters more frequently. And then also I was thinking investing in touch-free technology when you think of coming to doors, sinks, paper towel racks. Yeah.
I was gonna say we got all that. Yeah. Why don't they just
let's use it? You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. I'm glad you mentioned technology too, because I was thinking about technology. This is gonna push some of our technology forward. You're talking about touch-free stuff. You're talking about stuff to measure people's temperature. In China, what they were doing like 2-3 months ago is anybody coming into like a public building, they were doing a little forehead scan.
Right.
Before you come in, you got a fever, you got to go.
Exactly.
So they can do that for sporting events. They can do that for, work.
Exactly. And they have heat
You can do
sensors.
that
They have
at different terms, man.
You're looking at your computer screen, you can see someone's temperature who's walking through the door, walking past the camera. That's detecting the person's body heat. So they have that technology. It's just about putting it out there. The companies being willing to purchase that technology is another thing, which is another, out-of-pocket expense for the company. But if they want to be able to last, you got to evolve, right?
Right, yeah. Some of it's going to be government mandated after a while. I can't wait to see the different laws and everything else is going to go into place. The cleaning standards,
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of changes.
Corona
That's
certified
right.
cleaner.
That's real, though.
The UV virus killing light is going to be something. I've also even heard of gym memberships changing a bit to where they're offering online classes and online workouts, which, you can get that on your TV, pretty much. But, some people go for it.
I already got that.
Some people go for it.
Yeah, Planet Fitness offering online classes and stuff. But actually, Gold's Gym just opened back up, and I went up to Gold's Gym to work out, and it was packed in there. I'll be very honest.
Man, it might be for something like a business like a gym. It might be as simple as hiring an extra couple people. Their only job is to disinfect and clean during the whole time. Like, at each sector of the gym is like they're assigned to this. Before somebody can get back on this machine, it has to be.
Something else we've all seen already is grocery stores, right? We kind of said something about grocery stores before, maybe, but everybody's taking the toilet paper, everybody's taking the sanitizer, the rubbing alcohol, water. So grocery stores are going to be okay. Everybody's got to eat. So
they're doing well. Yeah. Have you seen the plexiglass things? They're
everywhere.
Plexiglass screens. Yeah, I've been seeing them everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, everywhere you have a desk or an interaction with an employee, you got a big ass thin plexiglass sheet.
I've even been asked to step back behind the line, walking through the cross. Like, whoa, okay, my bad.
Right.
But a few more jobs that I've kind of heard of would be like auto repair, because who's gonna want to go and buy a new car? Everybody gonna try to keep that same car and keep getting it fixed over and over, because in times like these, everybody's trying to hold on to as much cash as they can, right? Think about a virtual assistant. Yeah, for these businesses that are changing their structure to be more working more from home. That overhead you talked about, Charles, being cut down by having a virtual assistant, is kind of outsourcing that business help and kind of just decreasing the spread of the risk of disease. So,
So, it's funny because my wife is a consultant for a nonprofit, and they brought her on because of like what was going on with Corona, and they just needed another consultant for raising funds and doing admin work and getting them organized since they're not at the office. So there's probably going to be an increase in people like that, like consultants that are needed to organize the business because you're not all in one space. They're like get everything kind of together. So there might be something that grows out of that. Might be something that grows.
That would be like almost like a coronavirus consultant. Coronavirus. That would be
like
that is a good idea.
Something like
ways
that.
to navigate your business post Corona, in terms of your workforce and your buildings and everything, your strategy.
Strategy. That's dope. I didn't think about it that way. Like it could be a whole new field where you market to businesses. Maybe we need to jump out there, market to businesses, and say, look, I will look at y'all's operation, and I will see what you need to do to survive post Corona and keep your people safe, trim your overhead, and make revenue. But I'm gonna charge you $200,000.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
so, what I mean?
out there, BMBAinvesting.com. Hit us up. You got a good idea. You need some assistance funding. You need some assistance with taxes. You need some assistance with getting your business together. We're here for you. That's what we're here for, the community.
It's actually
That's right.
yeah. Speaking of that, it's funny. I had a young lady. She is a general contractor actually, and she hit me up the other day asking about a CPA, and I hooked her up with our CPA.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's always good to be able to provide resources
Right.
for the people.
Exactly.
That's right.
Now, there are a few more businesses out there that are going to be doing pretty well out here. We know the pharmacy game. That ain't never going anywhere. Anything like healthcare, you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic here, so we know that's going to be okay. We've seen already where schools are being in the home place, in the home space. So tutoring services, they're going to start having virtual tutors, I'm sure too, to try to help because I've known a lot
that's big time.
Parents
big
out
time.
there who are struggling just as much as these kids. Not saying no names, not pointing no fingers, but we have, as adults, we haven't been through this in a while, so we might need some help to,
A lot of parents ain't built for this, bro.
Oh man, I can only imagine.
It's tough. It's rough.
I can
I'm
only
tell you.
imagine. That's funny. But I mean, we kind of touched on some things, but just spinning off what you've already said already, tech support. Since people are working more at home, they're not going to be the older community, not going to be as savvy on the computers, things like that. And a lot of help. Telecommunications.
Yeah, they're going to need a lot of help.
With Zoom or Slack. That's going to be the go-to. That's going to be the go-to. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so how did you know that Home Depot and Lowe's, they're having like that. Black Friday like days? That's a surprise. Those are two businesses. No, I just know because I'm going there weekly, and it's always a line to get in.
I've seen the line outside of Home Depot. I know part of it is the social distancing thing, but part of it is, like you're saying.
Well, yeah, part of it is that.
Yeah, everybody's at home. They bored.
Part of it is everybody's at home.
Home Depot. Let me fix this stuff while I'm at home and don't have to go into work. Yeah. Right, those home projects that the wife's been nagging them about, that honey-do list. Right. Oh man.
There you go. Fix this, fix that. Definitely. And guys, we touched on it a little bit, but there was a particular interview I saw with the rapper Lil Boosie, and he's super popular right now, as everybody knows. He's a character. He's a character on social media. He's known for some weird, some crazy stuff he says, and his different philosophies about life and whatnot. But he had an interview on Vlad TV, and it was a very long interview, but a little piece of it that I got to hear, he was talking about what this virus, what this pandemic is doing to rappers right now. Those, their businesses within themselves, and a lot of those guys make the bulk of their money on shows, doing shows, 10,000 a show, 15, 20,000 a show. And that's where they get, a lot of the money that they don't necessarily have to share with record labels, with, all these other hands in the pot. The people that got 360 deals got to share everything, but that's still a significant part of the money that these rappers are making. And we know how rappers live. 9 times out of 10. Some of them have gotten a lot smarter more recently here. But Boosie was just making a point that there's a lot of rappers that are really hurting because they only have 1 or 2 streams of income. They got their little advance or whatnot, and, they're still working on their record, and they might not have adequate social media. They don't have a whole bunch of other streams of income, so they're kind of depending on the shows. And he was making a point that, once a rapper buy a mansion, you talking $15,000, $20,000 a month mortgage, plus $5,000, $10,000 a month in utilities, and you're not even, thinking about food and all the other needs that you have. So these cats are getting kind of desperate really quickly. And, he juxtaposed that with himself, who right now has a whole bunch of streams of income. And he thought about this from the first time he kind of came out and he got that murder charge. He wasn't able to work. He was in jail awaiting trial. And he said he lost a mansion. He lost a mansion because of that. And so he said when he got out, he was like, I'm never going to let that happen to me again. So fast forward, Boosie got potato chips. He got noodles. I want to say ramen noodles, but they ain't ramen. They Boosie. He got noodles. He got money from social media, features. He had his shows. He got back end payouts, publishing. So he's got several streams of income. What do y'all think about like what these rappers are having to go through right now, versus how they was living it up a few months ago?
I'll speak on a little bit. When I was coming up in college, we used to call it dirt balling, because these rappers would have all the bling, all the money in the videos,
dirt balling,
but it was rented jewelry, rented cars. You see them on the street. Yeah. They had a tall tee. We talking 2000, early 2000s, tall white tee. Or if you're thinking New York, Cameron Diplomats, tall pink tees. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they were dirt balling, and it was just all for show. That's because these labels are really, taking advantage of these guys. You see, it's almost like they choose a certain person, in my eyes. They choose somebody who has something to rap about. Mm-hmm. Who has something to rap about? Somebody who's been through a struggle. Somebody that, came from almost nothing. So when you come from nothing, you're going to settle for almost any kind of money thrown in your face. I'll take that. Yeah. You want me to do what? Just rap? In the videos? Boom, boom, boom. Let me take it. While at the same time, you're taking that money, they're taking advantage of it. So, we definitely have to be careful as an artist out there these days, because, I don't know how they're making it, just to be real, without any kind of side hustles.
Right. Man, yeah, pretty much it's the same thing. Like I said, I think a bunch of them aren't making it. To be very honest with you, I think we're going to see a lot of people get hit really, really hard. Even well-known names that you think are doing better than you thought they were doing. I listened to a recent interview with Marcellus Wiley, former NFL player, and Vlad. And he was even talking about how he's saying 1/3 of your celebrities are living check to check. So right. So you think these guys are here, living better than you, right. But I mean, definitely. with bigger income comes bigger expenses. And if you don't really know how to manage your money, that's what I've always said. If you know how to manage your money with, $10, you know how to manage your money with 10 million. If you don't know how to manage with 10 million, you're not gonna know how to manage with $10. It's all the same. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really just the mechanics in your system and what you have going on for yourself. So a lot of these people, hell, they couldn't manage $10. They definitely can't manage 10 million. And hell, that's why you hear about all these even basketball players and football players. Forget Corona, they're going broke after the NFL. 80% of the time, 80% of the athletes. Yeah, it's going bankrupt within 5 years because you don't plan for it. I mean, you think you're gonna be making $5 million a year for the rest of your life. That's how that's how they live. Yeah. I think really we need, especially as a people, just as our people, just speaking of us, brothers need to get their business acumen up. Of course, bringing it back to the show, we need to get our business acumen up because knowledge of business is the key. It really doesn't matter how much money you have. It's just the knowledge that you have to do with, with what you do have. So, that's kind of one of the things that we need to take advantage of and get straight with our community.
I saw that interview with Marcellus Wiley. He's 100% right. Celebrities in general, because if you're talking about, you can move it over to, the acting world. These cats, they live way beyond their means as well. But the thing about like the actors is their world is even more of like, it's even more so not real. It's an illusion completely. And that curtain really dropped for me when I moved to LA in 2005. And the curtain really just kind of dropped because I found out really quickly that a lot of the people that I saw on TV, a lot of the people that I saw in these movies, they was living in the same apartment complex with me. They was living like 3 and 4 doors down. I would see them every day at Starbucks. So I see them here driving a beater, like somebody you see on a show. So I mean, it's real. Like, it's really a facade. And they were a lot of times, super cool people, and it wasn't like they weren't really they weren't necessarily trying to put on a show or trying to flex. It's just the illusion that you have as the person watching television. Yeah, you like, oh, he in a movie, he rich. Not so. This guy, a couple of people I know, it would go 6 and 8 months between parts. Sometimes people hit a stride and they like on everything. They pull in a little something. You don't know how they are with their money. But, going 4, 5, 6 months between, pretty cool little parts, and you see somebody in this wildly popular movie. Who's the guy? Will Packer? And I don't want to diss Will Packer too hard, but he's known for putting together these great casts and not paying them shit. So he would have these, Will Packer, man, he would put all these big names in a movie, and you gotta see it, and it does crazy numbers. That's crazy. But each of the big stars in there got paid $7,000. You know what I'm saying? And they had to do all this press for it, and most of the time they probably didn't get any points on the back end. Or with Hollywood, you just know in that business, when you get some points on the back end, like, the movie has to be deemed as profitable. They'll never deem it as profitable, and you never see no money afterwards for that. So you're trying to get what you can get up front. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, man, it's just for these celebrities and entertainers, things are getting real crazy. I'm glad a lot of them have started to become a little bit creative in what they're doing. Like some of these musicians, like those versus battles. They monetizing
that. Timberland and Swiss Beats, right?
And I kind of love it, man. I love
That's
that.
That's their thing. They actually trademarked that.
That's coming up.
Oh, they trademarked versus. Yeah, and it's spelled.
They did. So were they the first one?
RZUZ. So they trademarked that. Yeah, they trademarked that. I think the next one should be coming up.
I've noticed they did spell it that way.
It's gonna be Ludacris and Nelly. I don't know who y'all got.
That's a great way to make money.
Saturday. Yep.
Oh yeah, I got Luda. Lyrically, Luda.
I got
Nelly
Luda.
got a bunch of hits. Lyrically, Luda can't beat him. He's a freestyle king too. He's one of the freestyle kings of the South.
This episode of Boss Moves with Business Acumen is brought to you by BMBAinvesting.com. That's our website, if you hadn't figured that out. If anybody you know of is looking for business advice, business strategy, they're looking for an investment, come to BMBAinvesting.com, fill out our contact form, get in contact with us, let us know a little bit about what you're trying to do, and we can see what we can do.
Talking back with how entertainers, athletes are spending their money, what we need to do as a community is kind of, put ourselves around these people who know how to handle business funds, help each other out. You know what I'm saying? We gotta learn to help each other instead of, hey, look at this guy. Look at what he's doing. Somebody, speak to each other. You remember it was a time where you walk past your boy, walk past another brother in the streets, and a head nod would happen. That's a sign of what's up without saying a word. You said a whole thing. Same here. But you see some who don't do nothing, they mug, they do this, they that, you think that's the cool thing to do, but that's not where we should be. And I see a lot of it changing.
I was gonna say on the financial tip, like I do see like with some of the athletes and stars, and I see some things changing with regard to that. Over the last 10 years, I'm seeing more knowledge in the system. I see people trying to take them under their wing. I've been seeing more occurrence of these football players not spending their game check, or the NBA players saying, "Oh yeah, I don't spend my game check. I just spend endorsements, or I just do this." So I've been hearing that. I think some of the knowledge is sifting in. It's just our job as people that know business, the people that have the business acumen, to try to put it out there and, you know, take some of these cats under our wing, spread the knowledge. And with podcasts just like BMBA, Boss Moves with Business Acumen.
I remember when Master P was actually trying to kind of mentor Kodak Black. Now, of course, you know, Kodak Black has like a 4-year federal charge for weapons now. So, and he's really not thinking about it even before, you know, Kobe. So, but he actually like pretty much turned down Master P's advice. Even when you see in the NFL and the NBA, you have prime examples like LeBron. I think what LeBron did was a beautiful thing. He has people that he trusts around him that he kind of grew up with and have been knowing for years. And they're pretty much his age, and they're capable of taking care of the billion-dollar enterprise that is LeBron James. And they're able to manage his career and manage his outside investments. So we have examples like that. But then a lot of times you'll still see when we get to the NFL or when we get to the NBA, we go straight to the white financial advisor. We go straight to the white lawyer. We go straight to the white business manager. We go straight, you know, because we feel comfortable almost in a student teacher role under white people sometimes. Whereas, you know, they have the coldest water and the greenest money. So it's almost like we have to break that stigma that, yeah, there are Black people who, one, know what they're talking about and have that business acumen, and two, are really out in a righteous purpose to make sure that our community, you know, learn. But a lot of times, yeah, our community just won't actually even take advice from Black people.
I think what we need to do is, and in LeBron's case, you know, he had his people who he knew around him. He knew their track record. He knew their background. He knew where they came from. He knew that they were going to have his back. Now, I don't think LeBron was going to be bad all by himself with the money that he's making, but anybody can blow money. You know what I'm saying? When you got the right people around you, that definitely helps. If Kodak Black would have just took the time to check Master P's track record, he would have knew he would have been in good hands. He would have been in good hands.
He's young though, but I don't even think it was about that, man. I don't think it was about
and
that.
That's really what I'm talking
about.
Kodak
Black's his particular
that's
case,
what I'm saying. Yeah,
I think it's just his mentality. You know what I'm saying? It was the mentality. Because I mean, I thought you were saying it in a way like
everybody knows. Yeah,
everybody knows about Master P or whatever. Master P is a cultural icon. Yeah.
This man
I just think it's his specific mentality.
He is now here,
and it's almost
like
you don't
hear what he got to say. Even if, and the fact that one thing is we're always looking for the hookup. That's one thing. Always looking for the hook with our people, exactly. But when we look across,
especially with our people, with our own folks, races, we looking for the hookup.
You're not asking for no hookup. So Kodak was trying to look for the hookup.
Don't even
Master People. Master
because you know, even during the deal, it was some deal he was going to work out. Where let's say Kodak Black would have made $5 million, but Master P himself would have made like $1 million off of it or something. So Kodak kind of felt some type of way, like, oh man, you're not gonna make no money off me. But I'm sitting there thinking in my head, like, Kodak, if you put your money in the bank, white man's made money off of it. If you put your money anywhere, you're not worried about how much the white man's making off of you in terms of being your agent, manager, whatever, motor. You're not worried about how much he's making. But when it comes to Master P, it's like, oh, this brother's gonna get $1 million. You know, he's just out for himself. I can't do that. Well, I mean, of course, it's business. So I mean, he's trying to help you make money as well. So sometimes, it's just our mentality as people.
That's simply a toxic mentality. That's just a toxic, and that's us not seeing enough examples of us as business people, of us as astute investors. We're seeing more and more of that now too. We have some big time investors that came from hip hop, big time investors that just came from the bottom. So like it's becoming more of a regular thing. So when we look when we think of in our mind and think of an investor, you think of a white Jewish dude with glasses. Many people do, but that's changing. Right. So you might start thinking about 50 Cent when you think about somebody that did a crazy investment. You might think about Dr. Dre. You might think about any number of people who have been super savvy with their money, who are black men and black women that are in the public eye now. Because a lot of times we've been having we've had black billionaires for several years now, but they're not publicized. You know, you don't hear about Byron Allen. You know, you don't know about people who made these savvy deals and savvy investments because that's not, that's not essentially what the media wants to portray.
Yeah, they can't deny.
But now they kind of cannot,
when they do
can't hide it anymore.
Robert Smith.
So I think that's changing.
Forgave or paid for Morehouse's, was it 2019 graduates? They wiped their debt clean.
Alma mater,
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That was amazing.
Yeah, but Robert Smith's doing big things, man. So and we don't hear enough about it. Whenever you hear about the black billionaires, of course you always hear about Oprah and Michael Jordan, but you don't hear about there's actually even a dude in Africa. He runs like the Dangote group, but he does like oil and mining and all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you never hear about those guys. You don't hear about Robert Smith. Robert Smith has a private equity firm that invests in a lot of tech companies. He probably has, through all of his tech companies, he probably has 50,000 employees under his command. You understand what I'm saying? But you don't hear about Robert Smith. You know, you hear about the Dangote group. Right. You just hear about Michael Jordan, and you hear about Oprah, and that's what they want to tell you about. But Dangote and Robert Smith both have more money than Michael Jordan or Oprah.
Right. And I think Robert Smith, his company he has the fund that runs all of the pensions.
Now I know he has pensions as investments. It's Vista Equity Partners.
Don't they run all the pensions?
Yeah, Vista Equity.
That's what it is.
So yeah, they just it's pretty much just a private equity firm, almost really a huge BMBA investment.
I think that's him.
Basically, if we invested in a bunch of healthcare and tech companies, I think it's a lot of healthcare too, but healthcare and tech companies, and then they just pretty much went public or got big and started paying back dividends, and that's pretty much what he did.
David Stewart is another big name billionaire. I think he's like in tech as well, Worldwide Technology Inc. From what I remember. But yeah, he's another billionaire that's a black man.
And his name is David Stewart?
So yeah.
I think his name sounds familiar, but I've actually never even heard too much about him. I'll have to research him.
David Stewart?
Yeah, technology and supply chain services. I think it's a Fortune 500 company, actually.
See, we have to know that stuff like that is out there.
I mean, there's a lot out there.
Right, we got to know that that's out there. And I think it's our job, as, BMBA, it's our job to even put that back there, out there in our community, that it's more than just playing basketball. Because the only billionaires, we know about, like you said, Michael Jordan. LeBron James is definitely going to be a billionaire if he's not considered one already. Jay-Z, Kanye. Right.
Rappers and
entertainers.
Jay-Z, Kanye. Kanye's a billionaire now.
Diddy.
Exactly. He's going to be in that group. Right. And 50 Cent one day, he'll be in that group as well.
Yeah, but, I won't knock their hustle at all, but there's more than one hustle to get to that beat.
There's plenty. I remember I was working one time and I was taking care of a customer. This guy owned and I think I've even told you all this, he owned a company that makes like nuts and bolts for a certain part of a car. Like the certain nuts and bolts that go into, let's say, the door panels of all your Chevys. He makes those parts. This man came up and was talking to me, and I was just talking to him, and he said something about his business. I looked down on his wrist. This man had a presidential Rolex on with diamonds all in the vest. I said, like, what do you do? I'm like, when he told me he makes nuts and bolts for cars, I was like, man, black people, we got to understand so much out there. There's so much out there. We, for some reason, we want to do what's sexy. For some reason, we love sexiness. We love, we get some money, we want to own a nightclub. We get some money, we want to, throw parties, own nightclubs, do whatever, start a rap label, do whatever. But when we got to know that there's so much more we can do, like you said, the knobs on the dresser drawer. Bro, I'm going to be the sexiest man sitting here.
Yeah, you can get the sexy. You can get the sexy man. Right. Trust me.
True. Polishing some knobs up.
Trust me.
Exactly. But
so to speak.
We shouldn't steer away from not only the non-sexy things, but even things that are out there already, making it better. You know what I'm saying? Spinning off of something. That's it. Improving something that's already out there. That's another way to try
improving.
to get that paper. You know?
Yeah. Seems simple.
And all you do is put them shits together, and you know what I mean. Now you got $1 billion company. So, you know, we just got to start thinking outside the box. Because I'll tell you, selling drugs is a minimum wage job. Girls want to be with a drug dealer, you know, and, you know, somebody shooting guns, and, you know, the Wild Wild West.
The sexy. That's all it is.
They make movies about it, you know.
And that's what makes us so immature financially and really economically as our people. We're very immature. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Some of us, yeah. Some of us are. And for those who aren't, we got to reach back or reach to the side, reach in our neighborhoods and our communities like we're trying to do here and teach them, you know, inform them on alternatives. Yeah, there's something else out there for you. You just got to think. Else. You just got to look around. You just got to be in the right circles. You just got to listen to the right thing.
Hey,
you just got, you know, it takes one simple.
You said the right thing. I tell all the young dudes who went to MBA, I always tell them, you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. You are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. If you hang out with 5 millionaires, you're guaranteed to be a millionaire.
Real talk. Hey, man. Hey, on that note, man, we're gonna go ahead and end it there. I think we had a great conversation tonight. A lot for us to consider, and a lot for our listeners to consider. As always, until next time, peace. Boss moves, BMBA. Boss moves with business acumen. We are BMBA Investment Group. Hey, man. Until next time, protect yourself. Go ahead and visit bmbainvesting.com. We have a contact form there. It tells you a little bit more about our business. But we are seeking businesses that need investment.